Right. So in 2017, Karen Mcmanus released a novel called One of Us is Lying, and it became quite the bestseller in the world. And in 2021, Karen Mcmanus released another book called You'll Be the Death of Me, and I'm gonna review about it. So before we jump into the storyline of this book, let's take a moment to appreciate how well the exterior is presented. So the front is written in bold purple color capital letters, and there's also a short synopsis. The side of this book has also the title and the author's name and the publisher at the bottom, which is Random Penguin House. And at the back, there's a list of books, and then there's also a bit of a lengthy synopsis. And then the page edges are in purple color to match the title, and I can't believe how well this book is actually presented on the outside. So the front synopsis goes: 3 friends with secrets to hide, one shocking murder, will the truth ever come out? And the synopsis at the back of the book goes: skipping school is fun until someone gets murdered. Ivy, Matthew and Cal used to be close, best friends back in middle school. So when Cal pulls into campus late for class and runs into Ivy and Matthew, they decide to ditch school, just like old times. But they're not the only ones skipping school that day. When the trio spot classmate Brian Boney Mahoney acting suspiciously downtown, they follow him into an empty building and walk straight into a murder scene. Now that the day of freedom has turned deadly, it's only a matter of time before the truth comes out. Okay, so that was the synopsis of the book. So let's get into the storyline. First of all, I really like to give credit to the author. This book is presented so well. It comes from a first person point of view, and it's not like there's a fourth person telling the story in the book. There are 3 main characters, right? There's no such thing as another fourth character. But how this goes, it goes chapter by chapter, and the chapter is based on per main character point of view. So like the first chapter is about from Ivy's point of view. The second chapter is about Matthew's point of view, and the third chapter is based on Calvin, or also known as Cal. Besides the 3 main characters in this book, there are also some supportive characters in this book, such as Brian Boney Mahoney. So he is actually the person who died in the building, right? And then there's also Autumn, who is Matthew's cousin, and she lives with Matthew and Mrs. Reyes, who is also known as Matthew's mother. So Autumn started living with Matthew after her parents died in a car crash a long time ago. And then there's also Gabe. Gabe is Autumn's boyfriend. He is unemployed but manages to drive a Chevrolet Camaro. Wow, I love that car. And then there's also Lara, also known as Calvin's secret Calvin and Lara are in a secret relationship. Then there's also Coach Kendall, who is a lacrosse coach for Carlton High. There's also Daniel, who is Ivy's younger brother, and he has an IQ of a genius. You'll find out soon in this book. And then there's also Wes, the dean of Carlton High, and also one of Calvin O'Shea Wallace's student, also known as Cal. So the storyline actually starts with Ivy. Ivy lost a senior class president election to Brian Boney Mahoney, who ran for it as a joke. His motto was "Vote for Boney and I'll leave you alone." Kind of cliche, or not to say cliche, kind of catchy, you know. He tried to make it rhyme. And then Ivy got so super frustrated with him, and then on that fateful day, Brian was supposed to give his speech after winning the election, and Ivy wasn't feeling good to go because she couldn't take it that she lost the election to him. And then she asked her parents permission to go to school a bit late, and they said no. So she had to reluctantly go to school. And at school, she bumped into Matthew and Calvin, who decided to ditch school together. And that seems like a good idea. They tried to recreate the greatest day ever, which happened back in middle school, where they slipped out of their boring field trip. And then they wandered around Boston for a few hours and they came back before anyone realizing they were gone. Kind of like a great achievement. Gone for a few hours and no one ever notices you went missing. And then so they tried to create the greatest day ever. So they decided to this school. They called the school and saying that they are sick. And then Calvin drove all of them to Boston. So at Boston, they were just wandering around the streets. Then they saw Brian Mahoney. What was he doing there? He was supposed to give his speech, right? So then Ivy darted after him because she wanted to give him a peace of mind after he won the election. But then Brian disappeared into an empty building. Ivy just followed him. Suddenly, she went silent. And then Matthew and Calvin panicked and ran into the building, if you see here. And then they found her on the first floor unconscious because she just saw a needle. A few feet away from the needle, they saw a dead body. And then they heard sirens blaring from the distance. They decided to make a run for it. They ran through the back door and into Garrett's, where Matthew works as a bartender there. So then they turned on the news and found out someone released an anonymous tip, gave an anonymous tip that the killer was in blonde hair, and by coincidence, Ivy was with blonde hair. So that's part of the story I can tell. So they went through a few twists and turns, and then they found the killer. So the killer was in the supporting characters. I thought it's not one of the three main characters. Bear that in mind. It's one of the supporting characters. And then this book has also a bit of a teen language type. It has a bit of a vulgar language, but it's overall a good book. I recommend this reading. It's especially good. It's especially entertaining for teenagers. So this book is 54 ringgit 95 cents if you buy it at Popular. I'm not sure what price you'll get if you buy somewhere else. So this book rating, I give it out of 5 star, 5. I give it a 5 star for this book. So thank you so much guys for watching this video. I hope you find this useful. So take care, stay safe. Bye.